Enchanted Footsteps, Cinderella Story. Once upon a time, a beautiful girl named Cinderella lived in a faraway land. She had beautiful golden hair, stunning blue eyes, and a cute petite figure. Although Cinderella looked beautiful, she didn't feel beautiful. She had some deep, dark, troubling issues that no one else knew about or could see. Instead of seeing just how beautiful she was troubled with instead seeing a bad image. Cinderella lived with her stepmother and stepsisters. Her father had suddenly passed away, and her stepsisters and stepmother became her caregivers. Cinderella compared her body image to those of her siblings. She felt her siblings were beautiful and perfect, and she lacked that type of image. Her stepsisters knew that she was having some trouble with her outside appearance, and took it upon themselves to pick at her looks. Her stepmother and stepsisters ensured that Cinderella did all the household chores. Cinderella started to do tasks and take pride in certain ones, such as making sure the house's floors, windows, and mirrors were sparkly clean, to see her reflection in them. After the mirrors and windows and floors were clean, she would look and obsess over her physical appearance for hours. Although Cinderella enjoyed cooking, she did not enjoy eating. She would stare at herself in the reflection of the things that she had just cleaned with sadness. What brought her joy was the friendship she shared with the mice and birds. When it came to eating, she would sneak her animal friends the food that was for her. This made the animals very close to Cinderella, and she loved them just as much. One day there was a knock at the door, and it was a servant, Prince Charming. It was a personal invitation to a ball the king was hosting for his son. All the ladies were invited. Her stepsister was so excited to have the opportunity to meet the prince that they both began working on their outfits right away. On the other hand, Cinderella was mortified at the thought that she would have to attend this. She was worried about her outfit and body image in the dress she would wear. She ran to her room crying, and all her little animal friends knew something was bothering her. She explained how distressed she was about the whole situation. So they decided to all jump in and help Cinderella pull something together. They began grabbing pieces of fabric from different places. They ended up making her the most beautiful dress for the ball. Once the dress was on, Cinderella completely broke down. She began sobbing uncontrollably. As she looked in the mirror, she picked out and noticed every flaw in her body, how she looked in the dress and how the dress fit around her waist. No one else saw these imperfections in her, but she sure did. As the time drew closer to the ball, Cinderella's stepsisters began to call for her. Instead, she laid back in bed, and they all left without her. After her sisters left the house, Cinderella got out of bed and began pacing. She wanted to go. Why was her body so flawed? Why couldn't she get the courage to go? All the crying and all the distress were heard by someone that loved and cared for Cinderella. And out of nowhere, boom, Cinderella's fairy godmother popped up in her room. With the help of Fairy Godmother's amazing powers, she turned a regular slipper into a glass slipper, ensuring that Cinderella would be relieved of these symptoms. Cinderella would be able to see herself normally. No worries of how she looked. She would see herself just as others would see her, beautiful inside and out. Not only did she fall in love with herself that night at the ball, but her beauty caught the attention of the prince. The clock struck midnight, and the magic of the glass slipper faded away. She had a great night at the ball, and so did the prince. All the prince could think about was Cinderella and her beauty. The prince and Cinderella talked for hours the day he came to her house. She expressed how she felt, and the prince told her that the glass slipper didn't help her. She was the same beautiful person without it. The glass slipper did not change a thing for him and how he viewed her. Their love began to flourish from that point on. They married a short time after that, but because she had suffered from this type of illness, the prince was able to help her financially and get her a team of people that specialized in cognitive behavioral therapy to help maintain her now healthy outlook. It was because of this help in the end that they could live happily ever after.